welcome back. This is the last of our videos produced by the Whatclom County Media Team on what happened to the Ron Paul people at the state convention here in Spokane, Washington. Please stick with us. We're going to have some very interesting, conclusive remarks and interviews. I'm Fred James. Please watch. And now for our final customer. We're going to talk to Jeff Whiteside, who's the communications director of the Ron Paul effort here in Spokane. We spoke earlier. We had audio problems. I'm glad to speak to you again.
Absolutely.
Jeff, how do you feel after 48 hours of this?
It's been a lot longer than 48 hours. It's been the culmination of about a year and a half's worth of work. I feel fantastic. What's going on here behind me is completely spontaneous, organized, on the fly, no less than probably 3 hours ago. I've never seen anything like this. It is amazing what we have built. There is nothing that I've ever seen like this before. I've been in politics for quite some time, and this is very unique. So,
Doug Paris told me that you benefited, the Ron Paul people benefited from the walkout of the McCainites. Is that true, and why?
Well, I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to make a political statement, and it backfired on them. And they thought that they had things under control, and they realized that they didn't. They ended up having to come back in to get things under control and realized that they had made a very big mistake. And had they not done that, we could have run away with the convention and done just about anything we wanted to do. So,
could you create for us a potential scenario, say a very positive scenario, as to what might happen with all the Ron Paul delegates in Minneapolis in September? What would you like to happen?
Specifically about what if we had a lot of Ron Paul people in Minneapolis?
Yeah, the best possible scenario.
Well, obviously, we would have a 100% attendance of Ron Paul supporters, and we would elect Ron Paul as president. So
well, that's too much of a dream. Something that's more possible.
Well, I think really fundamentally what we have in front of us is a major educational effort. Things about fiscal conservatism, our national debt, the Real ID Act, NAIS, a lot of these things are still on the peripheral knowledge of people. And so even if we have a relatively small faction at the National Convention, we can still spread the word and we can get the information out there. And I'm very excited about that opportunity. We're going to be sending 4 delegates and 6 alternates to the National Convention from Washington here.
Was this convention a success, partial success, or a failure?
This was a complete success. Considering how well the deck was stacked against us and how organized the other side was, and considering that the large body of us are fairly new to politics, we smoked them. We got 10% of the delegates. We opened them up for debate, it was clear that they didn't want to debate us. They didn't want any intellectual issues on there. They had an agenda. They tried to railroad it through, but in a lot of ways we stopped them. So it was 100% success in my opinion.
Thank you very much. And if I might start my article for the Whatcom Independent with the term, "We smoked them," and attribute you, of course,
thank you
for that great attribution. Thank you very much.
Very good.
She is the organizer for the Ron Paul meetup in Bellingham, Washington. We all came here together, and her name is Christy Nieto. Christy, you are from Texas, aren't you?
I'm from Texas.
And you told me once that you didn't like Republicans too much, as is popular down in Texas.
Not too much.
What happened?
What happened? I heard Ron Paul speak. The very first time I heard him speak, I decided I was going part-time with my job, full-time for Ron Paul. I heard him talk about the Federal Reserve, and I heard him talk about various issues that none of the other candidates are even touching on. And I thought, this man has so much courage to stand up. Even though some of us don't agree with him, he has never wavered on his principles and his beliefs.
And as you read more and more, did you find that he really was an honorable man?
He really is. Even though he's from Texas, I still like him.
Do you think this was a success or a failure, this convention?
I think big picture, long term, I think it was a big success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you witnessed something on day 2 of the convention. Can you tell us about it?
When all the delegates of the McCain campaign walked out to keep us from having a quorum, we did get a quorum. When they found out we had a quorum, they walked back in and tried to stop the whole proceedings. There was two women sitting next to me. One was a 21-year-old girl, and she was really excited about voting on the issues. When the McCain people came in and stopped the whole proceedings, she was very angry. She was not going to vote for McCain anymore. Her mother was totally against McCain. They actually cut off their nose to spite their face, trying to cheat us out of all the platforms, and that's pretty much what happened.
Who did they end up voting for, or did they?
They are now for Ron Paul.
We are concluding what happened in Spokane, Washington at the Republican National Convention. I'm talking now with Jason Reimer of Whatcom County. The man lives in Linden. He's a Pacific Northwest guy, and some dramatic things happened to him at that convention. Jason, could you please tell me what happened to you?
Sure, Fred. As the convention was drawing to a close, we were trying to go through the resolutions. We passed the resolutions that were recommended by the state party, and we wanted to get to all the resolutions. I mean, there was a stack of them, probably 60 of them, and the McCain folks got up and left in a rather dilatory fashion, and it was upsetting to everyone at the convention who stayed. Many of them stayed as well. As they refused to leave, they would not be cajoled. But once they realized we had a quorum, I guess it's probably a half an hour, whatnot, they started to file back in. At this point in time, there was such an outrage that I couldn't restrain myself entirely, so I had to get up and talk to them civilly to let them know how I felt. I was telling them how ashamed I was when suddenly two police officers told me they were there to remove me from the convention. I was not loud. I was not interfering with anybody, and they said if I resisted, I would be arrested. So I didn't resist, but I did move rather slowly.
And then for the rest of the conference, you were unable to vote. You were out.
That's correct. They would not let me back in.
To your knowledge, did you hear that any McCain person was ousted?
No, as far as I know, I might be the only one.
Okay. Thank you, sir, very much.
It was my pleasure, Fred.
To conclude, at the convention in Spokane, Washington, the Republican convention was characterized by myself and others as rather Stalin-esque. Why Stalin-esque? Because repeatedly it was an arrogant, top-down run organization. And we have countless examples of it. And I want to give you the last one right now. This is a document that was given to the conference. Can you come in close on this, please? This was a ballot, ladies and gentlemen. It has one candidate on it. One and one candidate only. And this is what Stalin and his gang of thugs used to do in Soviet Russia in the 50s. Oh, you had a right to vote for one candidate. The people objected to this, and they said, well, we're going to write in Mickey Mouse, or we're going to write in Stalin. A couple who wrote in Stalin. They saw the connection. And they were told by the party arcs that this was going to be run through regardless of what they wrote. And that's the atmosphere you had at this Republican National Convention. I'm sorry, the Republican State Convention in Spokane. This is Fred James concluding for the Whatcom County Media Team. Thank you for watching.